you how to make a portrait inspired by Jean-Michel Basquiat. So we learned that he uses a lot of what kind of colors, you guys? That's right. So I'm going to start by filling my page, my background, with just some different vibrant colors. Now, the more that we swirl with these tempera paints, the bolder the colors come out. I'm gonna have to borrow yours. A few colors. I'm just gonna use it for a second and then I'll give it back to you. So a great way to get started is to use your biggest brush and to fill up your background space with lots and lots of colors. So you guys can all begin. You're going to want big patches of colors. Sorry, I took theirs. I'm going to give this right back to you too. So just kind of filling up your entire background space with lots and lots of colors. So you guys can begin. You're probably going to want to work long ways because this is going to be a portrait. Yeah, it's going to be a portrait. You can use that brush if you'd like. So long ways would be portrait. Also called vertical. You don't have to though, you know. You can leave some areas white on purpose if you like. But I say just have fun filling up your background, and the more water you put on the brush, the easier it spreads. And you just want to fill in your background space. Now, did anyone here notice something that usually was in the background of his pictures? Raise your hand if you noticed something he seems to always do, one of his signature things. Jules, Emma. Yeah, I'd have writing, exactly. So before we go and draw our portrait, after you have some colors in your background, why don't you take a moment to put some writing in your background? The writing could be anything. It could be any color that you like as well. So maybe I'm going to write the word radiant because we learned he was the radiant child. And did you notice that his writing was also very childlike? That intentionally, on purpose, of course. You can write any words you want. You can have the words going in all different directions as well. You can spell it wrong. You can. Have fun with this. It's made to be kind of in his style or inspired by him. So I feel that whatever you kind of took from this is right. So you could just put any word that you like. Now, when you're filling up your background, I recommend using your biggest brush. That's going to be the red-handled one. So you guys should have that just so that you could knock it out really quick. What's another word that I could put in here? Someone just give me any old word. Clean. I like that. Clean. Right? What's going on here? Clean.
That wouldn't make any sense because it said in the book that...
I mean, it would be ironic. Maybe that's the reason. Right? I'm going to write it all big and crazy like he would too. A queen? Oh, well, I already wrote clean, so. Whoops, gotta get my hearing checked. I thought it was ironic, you know, because he was a street artist. All right. So I'm gonna give you guys a minute to kind of catch up and develop up your background. And then I'll take you through how to make a fun portrait in his style. You can put as many words as you want. I definitely recommend filling the background with color. Lots of color. If you guys are in 5th grade now, if you were in 4th grade with me last year, you might remember doing a similar project. Does anyone here remember? No? I think I did it with, I'm trying to think which class I did it with. It might have been with Voices class. Well, let's see if we can just fill up our background space really fast. So we're going to wait a moment before we do the face because we're going to take you through that, right? We're just working on the background right now. It's okay though, but is it all right with you if we kind of think over it? We're going to show you the next thing? Yeah? Yep, so we're just doing the background first. We're not making the portrait first because the portrait comes after the background stuff. So just the order.
Oh wait, I remember doing it.
Yeah, right? And you're going to want to just turn yours one way. Looks visually.
Yeah.
Looks good, you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys have the same hair. I'm sorry. Sophia. I know who you are. I think it's just because in class, you know, just used to seeing your hair this tall, so.
Yeah, I think that's a good pattern.
You can take a new piece if you like. It's up to you. Since we're going to be limited on time, in a moment I'll take you through how we'll make his portraits. So it's going to be a self-portrait. It's how you see yourself. Now raise your hand if you know what goes in a portrait. Raise your hand if you happen to know the things that belong in a portrait. Tanai.
A person,
A person. Which parts of the person?
head to shoulder.
Yep, head to shoulders, exactly. So it's going to be the shoulders, the neck, the head. So would hands usually go in a portrait? Not usually, not usually.
What about the Mona Lisa?
Yeah, you can see her, yep, you're right. You can see her hands. It's like a longer portrait and it does include her hands. You are 100% correct. So I would say sometimes, but not usually. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So in our portraits, we're going to stick with, just to make it simple, our shoulders, our neck, our head. Okay? So Jean-Michel's art is not about being exact. It's almost like you have to train your hand to work in a different way because I know you guys tend to focus on doing things neat, but he would have a whole different style. So we're going to train our hands to be super silly in about a second, okay? When I show you our next step.
Mine is already super silly.
Yeah, it's going to get sillier. All right, you guys. So I'm going to show you a little, just like some little tips and tricks and things. So normally when I hold my brush, I hold it like this so I can be very exact, right? But when I'm painting like Jean-Michel Basquait, I'm going to hold my brush in a more childish way because I'm pretending to be a child while I'm making my paintings here. All right, so you ready to see my different way? Yeah? Okay. So instead of holding your paintbrush exact, see what happens if you hold it in the way you're not supposed to. Just see what happens. Well, we want these to come out pretty rough because that's kind of like his way. That's what it's supposed to be like, right? And so we have our shoulders, our neck, and our head. Head can be large, small, however you want. I'm going to fill, it could be lopsided. I think what I'm going to do is just fill. This is definitely not the right way to paint. But we're doing things different today. We're just being really silly. I think I'm going to fill up half of his face and I'm going to leave the other half so you can see the backgrounds. Okay? You don't have to do it this way. Of course, your way is your way, but I'm giving you tips. Now, what did Jean-Michel Basquait always put on the head of his people? That's right. That's one of his signature things. We learned. So it's fun to see some of the background come through. You don't just have to use black, you can use any color. You can mix a dark blue by using black plus blue. All right, so for the crown, I'm gonna have to borrow, I'm sorry, I don't have all the colors in mind. Gonna borrow some yellow. We're using tempera paint. That crown, he was always putting a crown, huh? You don't have to, but it was just kind of like one of his signature things that he did. I think maybe I'll add a little bit of brown to the crown so you can see it a little more. And guys, you can get really, really into these. So a lot of times his portraits had a lot of black and white in them. So what I think I'm gonna do is use some white for my next step. The great thing about these paints are they dry really quick, and you can actually paint on top of the colors with light colors, which you usually can't do. So just kind of taking you through this. This is a quicker thing today. Really, there's no right or wrong with this too. In art, it is kind of like that, but especially with this type of art, I mean, art is from the heart, so just let it be that. I do have thinner brushes by my sink too, in case you want to put some details. You're welcome to grab one. See what happens if you mix dark blue and black together.
The blue gets darker.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Fun, right? I know it's hard to see in mine. Looks good so far. We don't need to be done just yet. Take your time. We've got another 10 minutes. Parents, you guys can feel free to make one too if you like. Great. All right, I have all the colors now. Yeah. You can mix colors in those ones. And of course you can go over your colors and make them more vibrant if you want. You can play because this is for you. I'm just thinking about the different vibrant colors that Jean-Michel Basquait would put in his pictures.
Even his name is a piece of art.
I know, his name was a piece of art, wasn't it? I just love saying it. It's beautiful to say.
Hey Dylan, why did you say a bad word at school? I never said a bad word. And how difficult it is to pronounce it.
So you can keep adding. I feel like his art is about adding, and I think also it's a little bit about afterthought, maybe adding things later on, like some of the writing, He does have some awesome pinks in his art too. So to mix the pink, what do we need?
White and red.
That's right. You're not supposed to do this, but I'm mixing it right in the well, and then I'll just clean this off after. These are easy to clean, unlike watercolors.
Well, I guess it was a pretty good idea to get these.
Yeah, they're great, actually. They're really good. Those are just tempera paints. And you can add other secret words. So I feel like there's just a lot of secret messages in his art in general. All right, I need to add a mouth to this guy. I think a lot of his portraits have crazy teeth. They all need to go to the orthodontist, so I'm gonna go and make mine in a similar way. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna let that dry for a second. I'm gonna work on another part. Are you guys having fun with this?
Yeah.
Good, I'm so glad. That's what it's about.
I thought it was about being different.
It is about being different. So you're making it your own, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Do it your way. All right, so for the teeth, I'm gonna do the teeth a little different. I put a lot of saturated white in my brush. And what I'm gonna do is just press my brush to get these crazy teeth. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to find this guy, you know, in the street somewhere. I think I'd be a little scared of him. What about you?
I don't know. I mean, the teeth make it look creepy.
Yeah, well, a lot of his pictures kind of have that. So, not that it has to, but if we're doing something inspired by him, you might want to capture a few elements. It's just more like his view of the world.
They're like stars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny? On Wednesday, like, it's
I know. I feel like you were just here, Dylan. Dylan can't get enough of me.
I guess. I guess maybe. Like, there's a birthday on like Wednesday, and then there's makeup on Wednesday, and then there's PMAC on Thursday.
Yeah, but PMAC only happens once a month, and that's why it's special. All right. So if you've gotten this far with me, that's great. So another thing that we could do in this part, you can make it look like you if you want. So you can add some of your hair. So if I'm Emma, I'm going to definitely have some curly hair, you know. You can do that, or you can choose not to. So maybe I have the same kind of hair
Can
too.
I leave? Because it's already time for us to leave for news crew.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have you just write your name and your class code on the front, okay? All right. Can you put your name and your class code on the front? So you might want to put a few secret messages in here. We already wrote some in the back,
Message.
right? We wrote some messages in the back.
I wrote
Now,
my
someone
secret
said-
message and then I covered it.
Someone said queen before, right?
Oh, wait. I have a better. Well, now I can.
So secret means it might be a little bit hard to read. All right, I'm about to sign off. You guys can stay a little bit longer if you'd like. Just kind of doing some finishing touches.
Oh, yeah.
And there we have it.
Cool.